All right, you guys, welcome to another fabulous Fridays with Franco here at Bishop Rotary's headquarters at Vatican Studios. And we've got Franco. How are you doing today,
Welcome. How are you? Who thinks James has a good voice for this?
Hey, we
Does
try.
anybody out there think James would be good at a strip club as a DJ?
Ladies and gentlemen.
Andy, what do you think?
I think he'd be great at it. I mean,
Casey?
I saw some twerking this weekend.
Casey, what do you think? What's your opinion? Let's talk about
it.
it.
Killing it today, or this week on Wednesday.
Okay,
happy for you.
Oh,
birthday,
yes,
James.
yes.
Oh, yes.
James turned 40, so happy birthday. If you guys can, send him some late birthday love.
We got plenty of love from everybody. In fact, I just want to thank everybody out there for the love and support, the shout outs, and all the messages. The love was definitely felt, and know that it goes all right back out to you.
Oh, yeah.
So what are we going to talk about today,
Today
Franco?
we're going to be talking to a live call-in guest that we're going to probably try to do every Friday. This week's guest is going to be David Vega. We'll be talking about how the fuck does he get those buttery smooth light grays, medium grays, and dark grays. Also, the Raffle. What time are we going to give that away?
We'll probably do it. Let's see. We've got the interview.
So thank you guys all for
Yes.
the raffle. Will you hand me the Chicano mentoring?
Absolutely.
Okay.
What we will be giving away.
Okay, so we're going to be talking about the raffle, but before we do any of that, just wanted to say thank you guys for tuning in, and for all you guys tuning in, girls, friends from all around the world. We do this every Friday because it's our pleasure to give you guys more education on what's going on in the tattoo world. I'm heavily plugged into distributors from around the world, tattoo artists from around the world. So I don't know, maybe this is kind of like a news outlet, just kind of things that are going on. There's no London Tattoo Convention this year, which is a bummer. There's no conventions at all, but we'll bring you some cool news when we hear it from time to time, and things like that. But thank you guys for tuning in. We're going to talk about some battery pack action today too. We finally got the 4 samples that we've been waiting months and months for, and I'm quite impressed. So get all your questions ready. If you guys have any questions about battery packs or soft, smooth, black and gray, how do you transition dark to medium to light? The whole goal is for you not to be able to see when that transition occurs. That's what makes a good portrait. You guys ever see those portraits that are choppy? You can see the dark quickly transition to the medium and then quickly transition to the light. The whole name of the game is hide your transitions. Make sure that you can't see when the fades change. So we'll get all into that. Talk about the raffle just for a second.
I think we sold out in probably, less than 2-3 hours for the raffle on this.
We did. Thank you guys, all of you that bought a raffle ticket. There was 50 of them. Thank you so much for this. This is a Chicano Mentoring Association. This is a cause that we at Bishop stand behind. Growing up in Santa Ana, this is my way of personally giving back to the city that we came from as young teenagers and young kids. A lot of people have lost their jobs. There's a lot of people that are out of work. So there's just a lot of crazy stuff going on right now. So what this is all about is we're giving away 100% of the proceeds. So we were able to raise $5,000, actually $7,000. We got some generous donations from some special people.
We did.
So really, really cool of you guys to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to buy a ton of Chromebooks because not everybody gets free Chromebooks. People in South Orange County, my kids got some free Chromebooks. But there's a lot of kids that didn't get Chromebooks, so everyone's homeschooling right now. So we're going to be able to supply a lot of Chromebooks for kids in Santa Ana. Chicano Mentoring Association, my big homie, Big Al. So we'll talk a little bit more about this when we give away, or actually when we see who won. So let's talk a little bit about the battery pack. Let's see here. The only question I don't want to hear is when.
but why not?
But we will talk about it. Do we have the engraved one?
No, we don't at the moment.
I wonder if Devin's using it.
He probably is.
Can you see if Devin has the battery pack downstairs? He's in his room. Thanks, brother. Yeah. Okay, so the reason why we don't want to talk about when this battery pack will be available is because COVID set everything back for probably 5-6 months on this project. I know it's frustrating to not have an answer. Believe me, no one's more frustrated than me. But when you're dealing with factories, several factories, PC board factories, anodizing factories, button factories, battery factories, right? So this is sort of this combination of like 3 or 4 factories, a couple different engineers, but I'm holding in my hand what I believe is truly the best battery pack available in the tattoo market today. Why? Because it lasts, wow. We've had people get about 12, 13 hours out of it. If you have a regular motor, like on our Phantom or our Shader. If you have a brushless motor, like we do in our liner and our packer, as well as some of the Injectas and some other machines out there, I think the Cheyenne Hawk, they use a brushless motor too. So you get a little less time out of that, but it's going to be about 10 hours. So this thing lasts a long time. It's 2,000 mAh, M-A-H. So guys, when you're looking at battery packs, I want to teach you something. This is kind of cool. It's super simple. It's kind of like when you're looking for cars and you want to have a fast car. You want to see how many horsepower it has. So, So when you're looking at battery packs, you want to find out how much mAh, M-A-H, it could be 1,800, 2,000, 1,600, 1,400. A lot of the battery packs on the market are about 1,200, which you're going to get roughly about 5 to 6 hours. Some of them are 1,700, 1,800. You'll get a little bit more. Ours is 2,000. I believe it's the most in the industry, or it might be right on track with a couple of others that are out there. But nonetheless, it lasts a long time. It's simple. Let's kind of, James, can you come around?
I can do that.
Come around
Let's
here real
take
quick?
a look at what we got going on over here.
Okay. Check that out. Ooh. Okay, look at these things. And in production, guys, they're going to get a little bit shorter, believe it or not. So this is what we have. James, can I see it? Okay.
Yeah,
so,
let's get in here for you.
There we go. Let me shine some light on this here situation.
There.
So this is a nice glass touch. It's an OLED screen, right? You have, I don't know if you can see that, but you have the power bank. You can tell, you can see the power. You can see how much power it has. 14%. So check this out. See that? Off, on, off. 1 second, James. Hold that camera.
Yep.
I cannot hold 2 batteries at once. Okay, come back over here. Thank you, sir.
There we go.
Okay, so let me plug in a machine. Hold on. We do shit live over here, which means we look for stuff. Okay, so let's plug it into this beautiful machine that someone today is going to win ×2. Okay, there we go. So it's very light, very, very light. So it's about 68 grams. So here's what we have. It's on. You simply hit the button, this power button. Now it's going to have a print. It'll say plus and minus up here. Andy, can you come over here really quick, brother?
Got you.
Will you shine some light on this for me? Okay.
Yep.
Like right on. Yeah, right there. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so this is kind of this is the easiest battery pack. Here's what you do. If you're tattooing and someone comes in, like your apprentice or your girlfriend or boyfriend or just some dude off the streets that wants to talk your ear off while you're working, which sucks because that happens at tattoo shops all the time. What you do is you just simply hit that button real quick and you can put the machine down. The reason why this is a lot easier is because a lot of the battery packs on the market, you have to hold this machine, you have to hold the button down for a long time to turn it off. Now, you do that when you want to turn it off, so you hold it down for 6 seconds, it's off. Hold it down for 6 seconds, turn it on, okay? But even though it's on, this works like a traditional power supply, meaning you can see the display that it's on, but then you hit the button to power it on and off. Now, I'll show you another cool feature. For those of you that use Cheyenne or some of those cartridges that are hardcore membrane, the membranes they have so much tension. How many of you guys have issues with certain battery packs where it doesn't have enough power to fire up the cartridge, right? This will do it naturally, but if you have a stubborn cartridge, check this out. Let me turn it off really quick. Okay, so you do a fast, you hit this button twice fast. So Okay, do you guys see that lightning bolt icon right there? What that is, it's a jump start feature. So that means now when you turn it on, it fires up at 10 volts for 0.2 seconds. So it'll power past even the most stiffest membrane. So here we go, watch. Okay. See that? So you have that feature if you need it as well. But look at that glass top right there. That's smooth right there. OLED display. Got a nice cool little chrome ring around it. We have this. This is actually not how it's going to look in production though. Let's go over here. We actually had this nice, beautiful logo engraved. Shout out to David Hoffer and Gabe. Is that who helped us out with the logo?
Yeah. That's who it is.
Okay. So let's start talking about this battery pack over here.
You guys, we are going to field your guys' questions, so go ahead and put them in the comments, and we will get to them and answer them. Franco is ready to answer anything and everything you guys have been dreaming about with the B-Charged battery pack.
And the reason why I think this is potentially the best one on the market right now is because I've tried them all. Everybody wants easy. There's a couple battery packs on the market where you have to hit the button a couple times to jump it from like 7 to 7.5 to 8. Oh, you know, I didn't even show that feature off. So look, guys, come on back here, James. So sorry. So these buttons are real friendly. Like I said, in production, you'll see a very bright plus sign and a minus sign right there, and the power sign. But look, you can go in intervals of 0.1 of a decimal. 7.9, 7.8, 7.7, 7.6. So the battery packs that are out there on the market that you have to, like, you know, hit a button and it goes from 5 to 5.5, 5 to 6. But what if you don't like that? What if you love it on 7.6 or 7.7 or 5 or 7.4? So you have all the freedom with this battery pack that you do with a traditional power bank. Very simple. There's no frills. There's no weird things. There's no iPhone app. Fuck those iPhone apps. Who the hell wants more technology? Don't you just want to plug the freaking battery into the machine, know this is going to last you at least 10 hours, turn it off and on, shoot it up or down, depending on what you want. What else do you need? I don't understand why people are, you know, making battery packs that work with your iPhone. Like, the last thing I want to touch when I'm tattooing is a fucking iPhone, or any phone for that matter. So, this is a very straight up battery. Straight up meaning it works, it's badass, it's got one of the best lithium ion batteries, it's got a power button, and what I really like is just hitting that button on and hitting that button off when I'm talking to somebody or whatnot. But it's straight up, simple to use. Any questions? Let's talk about it.
Well, let's start off with our friend Alex Mesa is asking, is there going to be a pre-order for these bad boys?
I've never wanted to be the company that does pre-orders, because what happens is you get a lot of people's hopes up, especially when you're dealing with other factories that you have no control of. And it goes back to, like, when will this be released? We've approved the samples, so now we just have to get into the production side. One of the things we're doing is we're getting this housing molded out of a polycarbonate plastic. So it's the same plastic as your sunglasses, really hard, really durable, but light. It'll be even lighter, maybe like 50 grams or less. So it's going to be really, really lightweight. And so that's production 6 to 8 weeks. So we're just entering production. So yeah, they should be done in 6 to 8 weeks. So that is really all we're waiting for. I'm sorry, I'm kind of like geeking out over it too.
It's okay, you're allowed to. It's been a long time.
We've been waiting a long time for this here, haven't we, James?
Yes, we have, and the day has finally come.
But it does feel good. I've been tattooing with this all week.
Oh, it worked on my back. It was like butter.
Yeah, it's just so easy. But the best thing is it lasts so long. We're talking about 10 hours. But if you have a this might not work on a Phantom because it just would stick out. But if you have a shader, this thing's going to last you like 14, 13 hours, maybe 15. It draws a lot less amperage on a brushed motor than a brushless. So, yeah, question time.
All right, we've got our friend Mitch Shiflett asking, what is the price tag going to look like?
So, we've put a lot of R&D into this, and it's there's a lot of costs that we're still absorbing, mold costs, custom screens, all kinds of stuff. So it's going to be generally around mid 150s, somewhere around there. We're not exactly quite sure, so don't hold me to that. But you guys already know we've never been that company to price gouge. So our machines are all made in America, top of the line, stainless steel, top of the line anodizing, top of the line Swiss or German motors, all hand assembled and handmade here, right in the backyard. And we don't like price gouging. We've always been fair, so you can expect that same stuff from Bishop when it comes to the price tag of this bad boy. But more than that, this is quality right here you guys are getting. So, yeah.
Okay. Alex Mesa is actually asking again, is that a C-type charger port?
It is. USB-C. That it is. It'll come with the cord too, so you won't have to worry about that.
Okay. No, we're not going to be doing any pre-orders.
Yeah.
Are you going to be able to purchase them like in a double pack, or are they only going to be available singular?
So at some point we'll probably get into double packs, but for right now the packaging that we're designing is for single, and we're not going to be able to get like a whole bunch of these. Like the first order will be probably 500 of them, so we'll have more coming right after that. So as soon as we get the 500 here, we're going to do a little mini campaign letting you guys know that it's available, and then just be one of the first people that grabs it, and it'll be yours. Yeah.
All right. We've got our friend Mr. J. Franco checking in and wants to know in comparison.
I like that last name.
And hey, I like that first name. Let's see. In comparison to other battery packs and their life expectancy, what do you feel yours is going to be different concerning use in whether high or low?
So it all starts with the top of the line lithium-ion battery. There's different levels. There's different types. There's like Class A. There's tier 1, 2, 3, and 4. So there's different levels of quality of batteries. Panasonic, being one of the top factories, they're called tier 1 lithium-ion battery factories. So we get a tier 1, so it's one of the best batteries. Costs a little bit more. What that means is it's not going to blow up in your face like a vape stick. It's going to last longer. It's not going to die as quick, right? Because all lithium-ion batteries have some kind of type of life to them. But in general, man, this thing's going to be a minimum 10-hour use you're going to get. I mean, we've had Dennis use it. We've had, Dimitri loved it. Dimitri smoked with it. Yep. We've had
Ricardo.
Devin, Ricardo.
Ricardo doesn't even want to ever go back to being tethered again.
I got 4 of these, and I straight got jacked. Like by the second day, I was tattooing with some random battery pack. Take it easy, Casey.
Later, buddy.
Boss man, later, guys.
Take it easy. Thank God it's Friday.
Woo-wee.
So yeah, it's gonna last a long time, 10 hours. And to really answer that question, because I've ever since they even were available, any battery pack from China, from anywhere, I ordered them just to kind of see, how the quality was. I wanted to know how I could compare. I wanted to really know how I can answer that question. So, first thing I can say is constant power draw, clean current. It's going to be no fluctuation, right? Some of the shitty ones have fluctuation. True power, true current, meaning if you're at 9 volts, it's true. Not a lot of people know this, but only the quality tattoo power supplies are true in terms of the exact voltage that's on the display is what it's being delivered to the machine. So critical, Mosutoku, quality, right? If it says 8.7 volts, it's delivering 8.7 volts. If you get one of those shitty ones from overseas, which I would not do. I mean, one of the things is you guys got to realize motors in your tattoo machines, rotary motors, go bad when you have shitty power supplies, especially brushless ones. So if you have a rotary machine with a brushless motor, you got to take care of it. You have to have clean power going through it. What happens on a coil when you have shitty power? You start burning a hole, right? You start burning a hole. The capacitor goes out. The hole goes through your spring because it's just bad power. Could be from the building or it could be from the power supply. But the cool thing about batteries, if they're good, it's just the cleanest power. I mean, when I first started tattooing, I had a big 9-volt battery. I used to tattoo off of that. I wonder if there's anyone out there that's done that. but battery power is clean. So our lithium ion is a tier 1 battery. It's got constant, pure, clean energy, and that's really what separates it. Not only that, you're going to get 10 hours of use or more. So that's a long time. So if you know, that's a full day, of course, right? So you can just, every day you can get a full day of use out of it, unless you're tattooing longer than 10 hours. And if you are, you have bigger problems on your hands, such as back pain, carpal tunnel. So I don't encourage you to tattoo for 10 hours, unless you're David Vega. David Vega.
David Vega.
You know what? That's going to be one of the questions is what's the longest he's tattooed? Because I know he's had 10-hour sessions before.
Oh, I guarantee he has. You guys, so we're about to get David Vega here on the line. Get your questions ready, talking about any techniques, trips.
So I've seen David tattoo live. We did a seminar, and look, you guys and girls are all wondering how to achieve that smooth shading. Last week we talked about organic give. That's literally the answer to that. Mastering organic give. We talked last week about training your mind and hands to be sensitive to the touch, right? You hear about heavy-handed artists. Why are they heavy-handed? In reality, they're just unsensitive. It's like that friend that says fucked up shit at the bar. You're like, damn, I can't believe you said that. And he gets knocked out by some dude, an hour later. It's like, you shouldn't have been talking shit, So you have to be, you got to train yourself to be sensitive. You have to really know when that needle is touching the skin. You almost have to predict how deep it's going in the skin. Is it too shallow? Is it too deep? You got to know all those things. And David Vega is a true master at being sensitive to the touch. And that's how you get those grays. That's how you get those creamy transitions. If you can apply that, a lot of you...
There we go. We're back.
Back on it?
Yes, we are.
Okay. So we'll talk more about the battery pack in a little bit, but
we do have more questions, so we can get.
You know what? Let's. I'm going to text David, then I'm going to call him in about 5 minutes.
Okay.
He's tattooing anyway, so we're going to be able to see what he's doing today.
Excellent.
And talk about how he's achieving those creamy transitions. So let's, David or James.
We got a couple more questions. You got it. We got Tommy G wants to know how is it going to work with the Phantom or the Michelangelo per se.
What was that? One more time. Sorry.
The battery pack. As far as with the Michelangelo or the Phantom?
Okay, so that's a great question. So, because of the nature of our first battery pack, we'll be coming out with more battery packs. We wanted to kind of nail down the technology, find the battery that we're going to use, and that took some time, right? Finding the right factory that we're going to use, working with some new engineers that we found. All that stuff took a little while. So our whole idea was once we master the first battery, we then are going to make some for the V6, some for the Michelangelo, and some for the Phantom. So stay tuned for that. That's many months away. Yeah. So I wouldn't really. I don't know. It would be pretty long if it's hanging off the end of a Michelangelo. It'd be like that long. It'd be like tattooing with a pen sideways. Yeah. Just get a pen machine. Then you'll be good.
Let's see. Our friend Christian Valvaneda is asking. Actually, he wants to know: is there a reason why it doesn't fit plush with the wand? Why it has the gap in between the connection?
So yeah, any of the power supplies that you get on the market, it's a traditional. You want to grab those other two? Okay. It's just the nature of an RCA plugging into each other. Really, they're all like that. Of course, we're working on a smaller battery actually, so we're working on that too. Oh, no, any kind actually. There's a couple different brands up there. Did it just disappear?
No, yeah, I think Ricardo may have.
There was two. Let's see. Well, we did have. What I was going to show you is probably the battery packs you guys are using. Just the Chinese battery packs. They all plug in the same way. So you're going to see a little bit of a gap because it's a battery pack. So the only time you wouldn't have a gap is if it's like an all-in-one built-in battery, which will be, we're still working on that too, but that's about 8 months away. So don't wait for that. But it will come someday. So Questions, James?
Let's see. No, we got just some comments. Ralph Morrow DeLuna likes the center of gravity versus the offset weight, like most batteries. Was there a reason why when we went with the vertical?
So the vertical is exactly what he said, because I've tried out the battery packs too, and I've asked a bunch of people, like, what do you guys prefer, like the tubular ones or the ones that have kind of like that, the ones that sit sideways. There's a couple of those styles out in the market, but myself and the consensus seemed that they wanted a vertical style battery. It's got this nice, I don't know, I sometimes wonder if pen machines in general are too light, but having this battery pack, it's got this nice like pendulum type of swing. I almost feel a little bit more control when I'm doing fine line cursive and whatnot. So that's another little plus that I've kind of discovered in using battery packs in general.
Let's see here. Lassiter Quinones is asking, has a very important question that's been talked about, wireless tattoo packs. Is it true to the volts? Like, if it's on 7 volts, is it actually 7 volts? And
so just to touch on that too, that's a good question, because a lot of people will use a battery pack and they'll think that it's not powerful enough, and it might be at 8 volts, and that might be their favorite voltage on a critical power supply, which is a quality one. But that battery actually might be delivering 7 volts, so it's not true. Even though the display says 8, it could be delivering 7 or 6.5. That's all a result of a crappy power supply, really. And that's actually, desktop versions could be the same way. You have to have a good PCP board. You have to have good engineers that know what they're doing, electronic engineers. A great battery with true current. And everything's got to be top quality, and you're going to get a true voltage. That was one of the things that was important to us. Obviously, I'm a tattooer. I don't just make supplies to make money. I make shit for me. That's the whole goal. Is if I can make it for me and I'm happy, my partner Carlos Torres is happy, then I'm sure you guys will be happy, because I'm super picky. How picky is Carlos Torres?
He's very particular.
Yes, so
he loves his wine.
So when we make supplies, batteries, needles, whatever, it's going through rigorous testing, guys. So this one's it.
Let's see, our friend Jay Franco's got another question. What is the charge time on that?
So right now it's at 1.5 hours for a full charge, so an hour and a half. Hour and a half charge time, you get 10 hours of use. So in reality, the way you would do it is you would charge it, either before you start your day. So you come into the office at 10 o'clock, you have a 12 or 1 o'clock appointment. Come in. I'm not a fan of charging batteries overnight. They just say it's not good to do that in general, even for like phones and stuff. But so charge it early in the morning, right when you get to work, or you can charge it if you have to at nighttime. But nonetheless, an hour and a half, you'll get a full day's use out of this. So, and you can always call your apprentice or your shop helper and say, hey, I come to work at 12 o'clock, plug my battery in. Yeah, so you get a full day's work out of this thing, continuous if you wanted. Now, but really, let me say one thing. That feature I showed you earlier, you could turn it off and turn it on. I would encourage you guys to do that. I see a lot of people that'll tattoo. Ever since we took away the idea and concept of a foot switch, which I hate, until this day I think my back is jacked up because of it. You're literally tattooing at a weird angle, and you're just trying to keep your foot on and off that pedal. So we never want to go back to that, ever. But in general, you want to make sure that you utilize this feature. You can get 12 hours of use, 13 hours of use on a brushless motor. The way you do that is be mindful that button is your friend. So if you're tattooing, someone comes in, they want to talk to you, just hit it really quick. I think, the reason why some of the other battery packs, James, the reason why it was hard to do that is you had to hold it down for 6 seconds. So it's not very friendly. If someone comes in to talk, you don't want to sit there and hold it down for 6 seconds and see if it was long enough. No, when you're tattooing and someone comes in, you want to take a break, just pop it. You know what I mean? Or turn it off. So a lot of times I see people maybe taking their gloves off to readjust their iPad or to do something, and they'll lay their machine down with the battery on it running, right? So, and it's for the same reason, it's kind of difficult to turn it off and on. But for ours, just turn it off and then set it down. If you're mindful of that, you can get about 2 hours extra, which you may not even need. That might even last you 2 full days. So keep that in mind. That was designed on purpose. This button is designed to be super friendly. Use it kind of like you use those toggle switches. For those of you out there that have been tattooing more than 5 years, when it went from foot switches to toggle switches. So we're going to go ahead and get into a call with David Vega, and we're going to discuss smooth transitions for portrait for realism. This is a really good chance for you guys, for anyone watching right now. You're going to learn something. You're for sure going to tattoo better if you pay attention. We're going to give away some freebies right now. We're going to talk specifically about organic give and how it plays a big part, if not the most critical part, in smooth shading. What do I mean by smooth shading? That's a simple word. Anyone can say smooth shading. We all know what we want. We want smooth shading. But how do you get smooth shading? You blend each tone into each other without the eye being able to tell where that transition took place. We've all seen how it looks done otherwise. We've all seen those sharp, stark fades from gray to light, right? Going back to, it's in your head. A lot of you are capable of drawing and painting and ballpoint penning better than you're able to tattoo. And it's very frustrating. I know it is. It's frustrating to be able to draw better than you can tattoo. It's why we tell people it's the most difficult profession, James. James is learning how to tattoo right now.
We're trying.
Is it harder than drawing?
Just a little bit.
I love when like a fine artist laughs and says, "Give me the machine, I'll freaking do it." I'm like, all right.
Challenge accepted.
But don't do it on me. So we're gonna learn a couple tricks. We'll talk to David for about 15 minutes. I love David. He's a good friend of ours. He's in the middle of a tattoo session, but he's excited to talk to you guys and answer some questions. So get ready. Don't be shy. Answer or ask as many questions as you want to learn specifically about his techniques in terms of organic give. So we're going to talk to David about organic give, touching back on last Friday's conversation. So without further ado, let me FaceTime my homie David Vega. Actually, James, you can do it better.
Oh, no.
Come on,
you got that one. Ladies and gentlemen, next on the phone, we have our dear friend, amazing black and gray artist, all around badass and gentleman, Mr. David Vega.
David Vega. Come around here, James.
Why
Don't be
not?
shy.
Let's get everybody a little piece of the action.
Well, hello, David. How are you? This is FBI agent Samuel L. Smacksum. And we need to talk to you about an investigation we're doing over here at Bishop headquarters. There seems to be some people that don't know how to shade smooth. Can we investigate your techniques? Sure. Look at that.
What is he working on right here?
Okay, can you walk us through this beautiful piece? Man, that is...
Yeah, so we're working on the inside of his bicep right now. We have a gill piece right down here that we're kind of adding to the background.
What's this?
There we go. Wow.
Okay, so how long have you been working on that piece so far?
I don't know. I lost track of time. I'd say maybe since about 12:30 Central Time. So what time is it now?
About what, almost 7:30 your time?
Okay, so close to 7 hours.
So David, last week I did a talk about organic give, right? And it was this term I coined, which, you know, a lot of times people have machines that have like all these give functionalities, right? Mm-hmm. And I always tell them, like, you don't need that. You just have to master the art of being sensitively trained to feel the... I mean, me and you were talking about this the other day, but just to share that conversation with the Facebook fellas, training your hand and eyes to feel the slightest touch of that needle in the skin. I call that organic give. And then, of course, if you want... And the reason why I call it organic is because it's built into our hands. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if we want to go... Exactly. If we want to go deeper, we go deeper. If we want to go lighter. And, of course, there's always that fine balancing of not going too light, because then it looks good. Then it looks good, you know, until it heals, and it's like we got to touch it up. So what can you speak on with your techniques for organic give?
machine feels in your hand. So every machine is going to feel different, but you can feel it. So when I kind of stretch the skin and kind of start putting the needle to it, you'll feel it in both hands. You think it's
Okay,
it's really hard to explain because it's almost like something you just have to kind of adapt to.
okay, let's go deep with that. When you say adapt to, are you saying that, like, you know how, do you remember when you learned how to ride a bike? It was like you tried to do it and tried to do it, then all of a sudden you learned the feeling of it, right?
That's
So,
exactly how it is. Yeah.
so when you say adapt to, you're basically saying you got to train your mind to be sensitive. It's almost like you have to be hyper. Like would it be fair to say that part of your gift is being trained to be hypersensitive?
Yep, that's pretty much it.
Okay, so it's the opposite is a heavy-handed artist, right? Like that clumsy, heavy-handed, pushing too deep, wondering why he can't get smooth transitions. So to enter your world of just creamy black and gray, because I mean, a lot of people can't do your technique, and even when I saw you for the first time tattoo live, it was like, okay, that makes complete sense. Like I can see that. It just takes a long time. At what point, kind of like you using the riding the bike analogy, at what point did you, if we're going to call that sensitivity that you have, if we're going to call it perfected by David Vega, at what point in your career did you finally find it or discover it?
I still think I'm still trying to discover it, but I think maybe in the last 3 years, 2 to 3 years, I kind of started kind of getting a good rhythm.
Okay.
But it took a lot of practicing to get to that part where I can actually feel it. It took me almost 14 years pretty much
to discover.
Figure it out.
Yeah. Because people always think that people find stuff. Sometimes it's 14 years of doing it a different way that didn't work for you, only to discover that it didn't work for you. What about so are you using the Packer or the shader, and what voltage do you like it at? Right
now, this is the shader. I'm using it at 8.7 volts.
8.7 volts. Okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's actually my favorite machine for black and gray, especially for the technique of layering. So, give us one more secret of your black and gray. Like what sets you apart from everybody? Do you want to talk a little bit about patience? I got a question for you too. We were talking about this earlier. What's the longest you've tattooed in one day?
The longest I've tattooed, I tattooed for 16 hours on my buddy Trent's ribs.
Oh my Lord.
Ribs.
Yeah, we did 16 hours on that piece.
Jeez.
We're still not done.
So let's talk a little bit about how important is patience in tattooing like you do, or just tattooing great, like excellent, like Michelangelo, Caravaggio of the tattoo world. How important is patience?
I think it's one of the most important things, if not the most important.
So if
you're not going to get a good tattoo if you're just trying to hurry up and get it done. Okay,
so a David Vega portrait, out of 100%, what percentage of that beautiful piece is patience? How important is patience?
I would say 80% is patience, and the rest is experience.
I agree with that, man. Like people, it's been said, like when you're working out trying to lose weight, they say 80% is your diet, 20% is working out, and we know that's true. We just don't want to admit it. And in the same way, patience. I'm glad you said 80% because whenever I used to do seminars, I would always tell people in the room, I'm like, you guys are all thieves. I go, you guys are all thieves, and they look at me like I was crazy. And I'm like, you guys are all thieves because you're ripping yourselves off. And then they'd still look at me like I was crazy, and I say, okay, let me prove it. Let me prove it. All of you in this room are better than you think you are. All of you in this room basically came here to hear me tell you that if I held a gun to your head and you take the last tattoo that you did, right? It could have been a rose, a skull, whatever. I held a gun to your head and said, you got one more hour on this piece. You're not done yet. Would it be better? Would it be better? And guess what they all say? They all say, yep. So then I go, well, why don't you do that? I don't think I ever have to hold a gun to your head, David. Like, you don't stop until you know it's done. Like, what can you say about that?
Yeah, it's just how it has to be. I think You know, if you feel in your head that it could be better if you take an extra 30 minutes or even an extra 3 hours, why not take the extra time to do it?
You got it?
Hold on, what is it? Yeah, I mean that's one of my favorite subjects to talk about in terms of like teaching people how to become better black and gray tattooers is really getting them to understand patience. It's almost like if you can get people to come to a seminar, or even people that are listening right now, if you can just get them to understand how patience plays a role in their tattoos, that's enough. I've seen this with my own eyes. That's enough to make them twice as good. Our buddy from Vegas is a good example of that. Joseph Hafes, yep, as well as
Jeremy.
Jeremy's another example of that. These are guys that understood that patience prevails, and patience is a huge, in your own words, 80% of a good tattoo, and I agree with that.
Yeah, I think you could do a 20-second seminar and just tell people to take an extra 2 hours on their tattoos, and they're going to improve.
I got a good question for you, David. Remco Gazin says, can you please ask David if he's using a backward stroke? It does look like it most of the time, that the back strokes are deliberate, and then the forward strokes. What would be the benefit?
I have more control with the needle bringing it toward me. If I go backwards, I don't have as much control over it. So it takes a lot more time to kind of do the backward instead of back and forth like the pendulum.
Yeah.
But it comes out a lot smoother if I have control over it.
So just to clarify for anyone, a backward stroke is when you go from top to bottom or from bottom to top.
So I go from away from me toward me. So
Okay.
from top to bottom.
Okay, so that's a backward stroke?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's the reason why I really wanted to define that is because I've noticed the same thing. I've noticed that sorry, I was getting a call. I've noticed that when I go back, do the backstroke, I could see the needles entering the skin. That raking technique.
Mm-hmm.
You can see it a little bit sharper.
Yeah, to get rid of. You gotta do a lot of cross hatching. Eventually, it'll start going away.
Yeah, so let's talk about that for a sec, because a lot of people don't realize. I mean, like one of my favorite stipplers on Instagram, I can't even pronounce his name, Castelvaran or Castelvani. From far away, his pieces look like airbrush portraits, right? But then when you look up close, he's a stipple artist. He uses a .005, and he's so meticulous. And so in the same way, like, people don't realize your cross-hatching technique. Like, if I was to zoom into your tattoos with a microscope, I would see miniature cross-hatches done so smooth, like just layering on top of each other. How does cross-hatching, which is almost against the concept of smooth black and gray tattooing, it's so against that, the concept of it, how does it work for you?
It softens everything on the edges. So instead of going one way, which if you eventually keep doing this, eventually it's going to start creating those mag lines.
Yeah.
Some areas are going to be darker than others. If you cross-hatch, you're kind of softening everything out evenly.
I got a question on your cross-hatching technique. I'm actually wondering myself. So, like, how many different angles would you say is good for a cross-hatching technique? Like, do you normally work with like 5 angles, 6 angles, like a front, back, a side to side?
For the most part, the softer it is, the less, or the lighter the tone, the less cross-hatching I do. The darker, the more. But usually, anywhere from 4 to 6 angles.
Yep, that's great, man. Remember that, guys. 4 to 6 angles, nothing less. What kind of black do you use, and why between others?
What kind of black?
Yeah. So David's sponsored by Empire. Empire is a great brand. Mm-hmm. I'm answering that question for you just because I have it.
Okay.
So he uses Empire inks and cartridges. What kind of cartridges are being used? Man.
I'm using the V2s.
So David was one of the first people to try out our DaVinci V2 cartridges, and we're appreciative of that, man, because we like to get our stuff tested out. Thank you. So yeah, Da Vinci cartridges and Empire inks. Shout out to Colt. What up, Colt? All right, man. Well, hey, dude.
We'll let you get back to work.
We're gonna let you get back to work. I can't wait to see you again, man. I can't wait to have you visit California. And glad to see you tattooing again. And thank you for always being humble and sharing your gift with the world here. And like I always tell everybody, just because you heard how to do it, you still got to go do it.
Exactly.
So
Takes
go
a
do
lot
it.
of time and
Yep.
practice.
Thank you. Thank you to your client for letting us interview you. And man, thanks again. We'll check in with you again, my brother.
Perfect. Thank you, guys.
Okay, David Vega, everyone. Take it easy, guys. All right.
Well, that was kind of fun, Franco.
He's just the coolest guy in the world.
He really is.
I mean, he's so badass, but he's humble. You know, he doesn't think he's the shit, even though he is the shit. So, let me text the person that kept calling me while I was doing this.
But you guys, we have a raffle coming up in just a moment here.
Yeah, let me throw something out real quick. I want you guys to know something. When we spend an hour or 45 minutes talking, best believe there's about 3 to 4 jewels in this conversation. Some of you can watch this or listen to this conversation and get nothing out of it, right? Because you didn't pay attention. And others, it could make or break your next tattoo. Finally learning how to ride the bike. Finally learning how to shade the nose in or the lips in. Or finally figuring out how to transition your blacks to your dark grays, to your medium grays, to your light grays. So today, there were some nuggets in black and gray and in portrait. And what I'll say is this. It does boil down to patience, cross-hatching. So just watch this video again, and we're going to start getting into more techniques for interviewing different people that do great tattoos. But we're going to get back into the Chicano Mentoring Association giveaway. There's 2 lucky winners to this. We're going to go into this website called random.org, and what that does is allows us to randomly choose the winners. There's how many tickets is there, James?
We sold
100
tickets.
Yeah. So thank you guys again. Like, there's going to be a lot of families that get Chromebooks because of you guys. So for everyone that bought a raffle ticket, just know that I believe that things come back to us, whether good or bad, and we appreciate that kind gesture. Even if you didn't win, you still win. You still won in the spiritual realm because you will get blessed. Believe me. So you'll get it back to you tenfold. But for 2 people, they're going to get it back right now. So let's walk over there. Let's walk over to the computer, James.
And you guys, again, we will be having some more raffles coming up with some other fun prizes. Walking over here, you guys, here's the amazing piece by Mr. Defford.
I love artwork.
This is the AP print from our brother, OG.
Esteban Oriol.
Esteban Oriol.
LA fingers, eh? There we go.
And another little piece of tattoo history.
We love original artwork over here, everybody.
Some tattoo history by Good Time Charlie, Mr. Charlie Cartwright.
Jesus.
And signed by the Godfather Black and Gray, Mr. Jack Rudy.
Yep.
And for the winners over here, so
Okay.
we've got our list of 100 names set. We have
Okay.
True Random Generator, 1 out of 100.
Okay, so how does this work again?
So
James
you're just
Brown?
going to click down on Generate.
What is this 168?
Because I had it set out of 500 so they can know that we're setting it straight. So
Okay, so when I generate, what's
it's going to give us the number of who's going to win.
Okay, so one at a time?
Here
Okay,
we go.
zoom in. Okay,
First winner is...
Let's click it.
14. And winner 14, scroll up.
Hold on, I'm going to click on it.
We have
Jesus
Quara.
No. Jesse Quara.
Jesse Quara.
Jesse Quara. There we go.
That is number 14 is our first winner.
Congratulations, Jesse. Let me write this down because we do not want to forget who won.
Number 14, can you go ahead and mark that, Andy? He's got that already taken care of. So
perfect.
let's get the second one picked
All right,
out here. Ready?
okay.
Who's it going to be, Franco?
Let's see. And thank you guys again
Who's
for...
it going to be?
Let's go ahead and generate.
Next winner is...
Boom! 68. Let's see who we got up in here. 68 goes to Caleb Brauch. Oh, Caleb Brock. He bought 4 tickets. Is that 4 tickets?
No, he bought 2 tickets.
Okay. Wait, how come it says 1? 1.
Gabe's got the whole thing set up there.
Okay, so Caleb Brock is the second winner. Congratulations to Caleb and to Jesse. So both of you will be getting this machine. But for those that didn't win, we have from Engrave It, from Hernan, we have about
28 of them coming in this week.
Thank you for stealing the words out of my mouth because I didn't have the answer. So next week, so we're still going to get these launched. So there's going to be about, 26 because 2 of them are going to be given away. So we're going to launch 26 of these. Act fast because they're going to go. They usually last about 20 minutes online when we have a batch. So stay tuned for that offering. And thank you guys for tuning in. As always, it's our desire that you guys get better with techniques, with knowledge on how to tattoo better, anything and everything. James Brown. So we will say this. So stay tuned for this again, guys. And the battery pack, send us some messages if you have any more messages about them. Hopefully I answered most of it today. Shout out to David Vega for tuning in with us. And again, it's our desire that you get better, that we can answer questions and be there for you to educate you all on tricks, tips, techniques, and featured new products.
Franco, as always, thank you for your time. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in for Fridays with Franco here on Facebook. Get those questions ready for next week. Either send them our DMs, we have our Messenger, or we have our Facebook.
Patience. Remember that.
Bishop Rotary Facebook group. So you guys have a wonderful week. Enjoy your weekend. Thank you for the love and support. And remember, if nobody loves you, Bishop's got you.
And our brother Chuco.
And we out.